So when I look at the officer, or when I look at his boss saying, yeah, this guy was a coward, the video is supporting what his boss is saying, that this guy didn't respond inside. He should have went, officers, we're trained to run towards gunfire, right? And if that gunfire is so far away, which he's claiming, then his primary duties now is to safeguard and lock down that school. His actions is not consistent with what he is representing.
Let's bring in Greg and Michelle. Starting with you, Greg. There are two ways that this defense, in my opinion, can approach this. They can either argue the facts of the case, or they can argue the law. They can do both, but they can lean into one more than the other. The facts being that he did do what he was supposed to do, because the argument is that he didn't know where the shots were coming from, that many people were saying different things, and he didn't know the shooter was inside. But you can also argue the law, that the law doesn't support filing charges against someone for inaction, that he was not responsible even if he didn't do his job. In your opinion, what's the best course of route for the defense in this case?
Julia, that's an excellent point. And if I was trying this case, I would say the law does not require a choice between being a hero and a coward. Basically, you're trained to do your job. People react, I'm sure Joe knows this, with fight or flight when you're presented with a situation. So really, this is going to boil down to his mens rea. But if we're going to put everyone to the standard of being a hero, this is not only an important case for Peterson, obviously, but it's going to have national ramifications as we see states trying to battle school shootings with beefing up school resource officers. So, we saw a similar situation in Uvalde, Texas, but we didn't see any charges. So an excellent point. I think the law supports Peterson, but that would be my defense. We're not here to decide heroes and cowards. We're here for someone that was doing their job in the best way they thought they could.
Michelle, let me get your thoughts, because Greg is raising a good point about the ramifications nationally. We've got the Uvalde case where we saw officers not going in. Many of them lost their jobs after that, but no criminal charges. Then, we saw the officers in Tennessee at the private school where there was the shooting rushing in, and they were hailed as heroes in that. And you could tell from the public that's what they want to see in situations like that. But will a case like this really impact other situations? And I want to bring up another case, because we are seeing in cases like the murder of George Floyd, where the other officers who stood by were charged for not acting, for not intervening.
Yeah, those are excellent points. And a case like this is going to have significant implications, because unfortunately we see school shootings, we're seeing them more and more often. And so if anything, this case will serve notice on persons that are in that position of whether being armed guards at schools and so forth, that they do need to be proactive in their positions and in their duties. And when you're looking at charging someone for inaction, I believe some of the charges here are for culpable negligence. And it is possible that if you do not take every step that you're supposed to, follow the training and protocol, you will be charged. Now, in a case like George Floyd, where those officers have an affirmative duty to protect the public and to protect persons, you can understand why all the officers involved were charged and ultimately convicted in that case. But there are significant ramifications from this one, if anything, but to at least put everyone else on notice that serve as, armed guards and in those positions.
Joe, I only have about 20 seconds to ask you this question, but if this officer believed that there was a sniper on the roof, which he's saying he did, and that there could have been multiple gunmen, would that change how he was supposed to react?
No, and the reason why is because his response doesn't represent that. Your training is a methodical approach to that type of incident. He didn't follow, so I'm going with his boss saying that, no, he was scared, he was a coward, and he didn't enter the school.
We will see what happens when that case starts. We will bring it to you live here on Court.